it is an important reminder for us that if the 10 attributes that we are now looking forward for NAC is implemented, we all will be in that same category, and we all will have to follow the same protocols that NAC wants us to understand. And hence it is important that we just have an overview and an understanding of it, because by the time it comes to us we should be ready and prepared. And that's why NAC has also taken this initiative in conducting the workshops on the new pattern, on the binary accreditation. Workshops were conducted for the last year, this year 2024, at different times in different zones, and everybody was given an opportunity to attend the workshop. In case if you all have not, then there's a small an overview that I will share today. What happens with NAC is the major component that is modified as per the NAC is the criterion that we have been speaking about. So right now we all know that we all have 7 criterion that we speak about, but now we are moving on from the 7 criterion to 10 attributes that we are that NAC wants us to focus. Now when we speak about 10 attributes, then we need to understand each of these attributes very clearly, because unless and until we are aware of these attributes, we'll not be able to look into how we need to make changes in the entire sector. I'm not going to go much in detail about the NAC binary accreditation, because that's a concept that we all know. But what we need to look into is these 10 attributes and the questions and the expectation of of NAC from these attributes. So let me just go on with my presentation. This is how NAC looks at the new format or the new things that we are looking up. Now, when we talk about NAC, the kind of uh, expectations that we are looking up, these are certain things that NAC is looking up at, and each of them have a set of questions that or the metrics that has been placed, and these metrics are very very clearly put up when we speak about the 10 attributes. So let me go up with this format. The first is the curriculum. So if you see, I have color coded it to understand that there are 3 things that NAC is expecting us to be ready with. One is the input, then the process, and the third is the output or the outcome. Now, all our activities, all our things of an institution that runs will be focusing on these 3 areas, that is input, process, and outcome. Now, you cannot start thinking. Now, if you go back to your 7 criterion right now, you will see that what you were mentioned in the criterion 1 is also mentioned in criterion 3, criterion 5, criterion 7, criterion 6, and so on, and criterion 2. For an example, you have a question in criterion 1 which speaks about value added courses. Okay, you are talking about value added courses. Suppose if you have done a value added course in environment, you are talking about that value added courses in criterion 1. Then you are again talking about value added courses in criterion 2, where you're trying to say that you're giving an additional help to the students in other aspects. You're talking about this value added course on environment in the criterion 3, where you speak about community engagement or community outreach or community related or environment related activities. You're talking about this in criterion 5 also, when you're talking 5.1.1 of capacity building or capability building. You're talking about it in criterion 7 also, when the whole criterion you speak about environment. If you see one particular aspect, you have at least taken down into 2 or 3 criterion. Now, what change happens here is, whatever you say in the attribute 1 of curriculum, you will have to show that in process in 5 6 7, in process in 5 6 7, and in outcome in 8 9 and 10. So now if you understand, You have to be very clear what you are in, what is your input. You cannot suddenly say that in attribute number 5 you cannot suddenly come up and say that I did value added course in gender sensitization if you have not told about it in the attribute number 1. So they are very clearly checking your input, your process, your output. So, which means that if you have a process or output, it has to be shown from the input stage itself. If you have you suddenly say in criterion, suppose you were suddenly saying something in the end, in one of these things like student outcomes is attribute 8, you suddenly say that my student is able to follow or do community activities. You have to show that in your attribute number 1, in your attribute number 6, and only then you can say that it is seen in attribute 8. The link is very, very important. So this will keep a check on our systemic process of the things. That is why I'm going back again. Do not attempt to do things in a last minute manner. This kind of a format which the Naac is going to focus on will not look into a disjointed format. They are going to see whether you are continuously, progressively doing this in a systematic manner. So let me now go in detail. So attributes are what the name change from criterion, and there are 10 attributes that we are talking about. The first, second, third, and fourth are the input attributes. It carries 275 marks, that is, score is 275, and each of the attribute has this number of marks allocated to it. Okay, so you have curriculum as one of the attribute. What does that mean? Curriculum is an input, which means that you will infuse or input the curriculum into the process of your education, which will give you the desired result. The second attribute, which is an input, is faculty resources. That is, you need to have your faculty, and this faculty is going to teach the curriculum that you have put up for your students, and how it is done will be checked in the process, and whether the children have understood or no or not will be checked in the output, that is outcome. The third input is infrastructure. What are the facilities that you all are providing for this kind of curriculum and faculty to be utilizing these resources? The fourth is financial resources and management. So your input has four things. One is curriculum, one is faculty and resources, third is infrastructure, and fourth is financial resources and management. Okay. Now, the next we will go is process. Now, in process, there is teaching and learning as a process, there is extended curricular engagement as a process, and there is governance and administration as a process. If you see here, they are bringing in criterion 2, they are bringing in criterion 3, and they are bringing in criterion 6, which is merging together to put this process. Why are they involved? Learning and teaching is a process because in learning and teaching, they will know how the syllabus or the curriculum is transacted in the class, how effective the teachers are doing it in the class, and what are the methods of which they are doing it in the class. And then they are also going to see your extended curriculum engagement, such as your community work, your NSS, your NCC, your community engagement, or your internship. So many other aspects are going to be involved in this. And governance and administration, which talks about who is looking into the administration process, who is looking into all the aspects of governance, who is handling the clubs and committees, who is taking care of all these aspects, is looked into governance and administration. So that is a process, because if there are no teachers, if there are no principals, if there are no heads who will manage this, then the whole administration process or the governance process or the way the functioning process will be affected. And if the functioning process is affected, what happens is the result or the outcome will not be as desired or as you wanted. So the third aspect of this is the outcome, which is the student outcome, the most important aspect. Why are we doing all this? For finally to know if our students are going to achieve, what is the student achieving at the end of the day. Second is the research innovation outcome. Every institution has to focus on research and innovation, because unless and until there is a research and innovation that happens, there is no scope of further progress. We will be stagnated. And hence, we need to understand that research and innovation through publication, through patents, through small, minor research, major research, through action research, many other forms of research, we are trying to bring about a change in the mindset or in the processes that are happening. And finally, is what are you achieving for the society? That is your sustainability outcomes and your green initiatives. These are the three ways through which each of our aspect of the entire system of our institution will be assessed. So you have the input, you have the process, and you have the output, okay, or the outcome. And then, as we now also had the best practices, there will be a uniqueness or impact, and an impact to it, and a situatedness, which means what is that special thing about your college or your institution, which is it that really feels us to be looking up, like you should be an example for others. What is that that is being done in your college which brings us as an example, that will be looked into in your uniqueness and situatedness. Okay, so I'll be doing with the first four aspects of input today, because I feel let's go one by one so that we know what are we looking up. The first aspect of input is curriculum. Now, in curriculum, they are going to focus on all these aspects. First is the outcome based curriculum. We'll go one by one. So what do we mean by an outcome based curriculum, or what is it going to look at? Now, this outcome based curriculum is basically only for university and for autonomous colleges, because the affiliated colleges get the curriculum from the university. They do not have scope in changing or revising the curriculum. They have they have to follow the prescribed norms of the curriculum, and hence outcome based curriculum, which is metric number 1.1.1.1, is basically for the universities and for autonomous colleges. Now here, if you are a part of your autonomous college, then, or if you are a part of the university, then the most likely question that they are looking up here is the curriculum framework in alignment with the outcome based education? For that, we need to follow the outcome based education, which means we are going to talk about the program outcomes, program specific outcomes, or the program expected outcomes, and whether we are following the course outcomes. So, what is an outcome based curriculum? An outcome based curriculum is a where the curriculum is going to clearly define the program outcomes, program specific outcomes, and the course outcomes. Once your curriculum defines that very clearly, then you will be able to check whether this curriculum is able to achieve the outcomes that it has framed. For an example, I'll give you here. If my program outcome says that I'm going to nurture student teachers to be technologically savvy or technologically savvy, that means they are going to see that if my students are going to achieve technological advancement or they are very comfortable in using technology, if that is my program outcome, then it means that in my curriculum, I have to keep a, a course on which relates to technology, which talks about integrating technology in classroom, which talks about using technology in their day-to-day practices, and they should be continuously doing it. There should be some some assignments or some task associated to that. So when the student enters the curriculum, when enters the course, you see the entry level of the child, then you come to know how much the technologically savvy the student is. And when you give all these practices or assignments to the students, and in the end you again put up the child with an assessment and check the difference, and if when there you see, and when you see a difference, you can say that your student has of secured the first objective of being technologically savvy. That's how each of the objectives that you will frame for your students, or the university or the autonomous college, when they frame, they have to see that they are able to frame that based on the broader objective that they have. So, first of all, we need to even understand the difference between a program objective, a course objective. What's a program? Your B.Ed is a program. Your If you are doing a BCom, that's a program. And in B.Ed, knowledge and curriculum is a course. In B.Ed, learning and teaching is a course. So, course is a subject, and program is the entire set of subjects and all other things which the child will fulfill, and the award of degree will be done. That is a program. So, when you are going to make the program outcomes and the course outcomes, you need to remember these two aspects. So, if you are a university, or if you are a part of the university, and if you are a part of the autonomous college, then here, what are you supposed to do? One is you will have the minutes, okay, of the BOS, of the academic council, of the governing body. Everything is a part of your documentation for preparing this metrics of 1.1, which is outcome based curriculum. Okay, affiliated colleges do not come under a part of this. Now, the next one is 1.2, that is stakeholder participation. Now, like I said, in the framing of curriculum, there is not much scope for the affiliated college. That is, they do not have any scope. So, their role comes from here. That is the stakeholder participation. Who is your stakeholder? You need to understand. Your stakeholder are your students, your teachers, your employers, your industry. That is what, who is the industry? Practice teaching school, your alumni. These are your stakeholders. They are connected to your institution, and hence you need to involve these stakeholders when you start taking their feedback for participation in how curriculum can be enriched, how curriculum can be made more viable for the students. And hence you need to have these inputs that you receive from the stakeholders. So you can write there, the stakeholders involve students, teachers, employers, industry, that is PT schools, and alumni. You will form a committee, you will form a team of all these stakeholders, and keep them at least for a period of 3 years. You will keep them, as you know, you'll form a team at least for 3 years. And these 3 years, when you hold meetings, you need to take their consent, you need to take their views, You need to take their opinions, and then whatever they are suggesting, you need to record that in your minutes of the meeting, and you need to try to incorporate and implement this by them. So how you're going to do it? You're going to have a meeting. You have to go. You will frame a agenda talking about curriculum, and in that agenda of curriculum, you will ask the opinion of the experts on the topics whichever is connected for the betterment of the students. And in that, you will have these categories of stakeholders, that is students, teachers, employers, alumni, and practice teaching school. Five stakeholders. You will write their names. You will mention their designation. You will write that, what is the feedback that they have given. And later, you will say that how you implemented that and what you found as a betterment. Okay. So, the stakeholder participation becomes the second part that you are looking at. The third is your curriculum flexibility. If you see metric number 1.3 is curriculum flexibility. Now here, curriculum flexibility is also not in the scope of an affiliated college, but it has a lot of scope for university and autonomous colleges. Now, why curriculum flexibility? Because the curriculum is made by the university and the autonomous college. Affiliated colleges just simply take it from them and follow it. And because they just take it from them and follow it, they cannot just minus one paper or cancel something. They cannot do that. Whereas the university and autonomous colleges frame the curriculum, and hence they have scope in adding, deleting based on the framework. Okay, just not because I like it I will keep it, I don't like it I will remove. No, there is a framework given by the statutory body, and based on the framework given by the statutory body, you will put the you will frame the curriculum, and you will frame the syllabus and the course content, and then based on that you will have flexibility within that to choose what is suitable. So how are you going to do it? You are going to first see whether the curriculum is offering choice based credit system. That is very important. Giving provision for electives to students, giving provision for choice to students is very important in curriculum flexibility. Second, you will also talk about the multiple entry exit format. So, whether the curriculum is allowing the students to have multiple entry exit. The third is the academic bank of credit that the curriculum offers. Second, the next is the credit transfer that the curriculum offers to other institutions. Suppose if a student wants to go from this institution to the other, what is the provision for credit transfer? Whether the child is allowed to do integrated or dual programs, whether there are major and minor options or electives, whether there is importance given to the Bharatiya Bhasha, and whether there are open electives. These are the various aspects that you will look into when you are talking about the curriculum flexibility. If there are participants who are a part of the university or who are a part of an autonomous college, then curriculum flexibility is important. Whereas for affiliated college, curriculum flexibility is not in their purview. The next is practical and industry focus. Now, in practical and industry focus, we have for affiliated colleges, there is a large component that is attached to it. The marks for that is more for practical and industry focus. It is mainly 20 marks for an affiliated college, whereas for autonomous and for universities and autonomous colleges, it is only 10 marks. Now, what is it that they are looking out here? One is they are looking out percentage of courses with emphasis on skill based training, whether there is a scope of skill based training. If you see the word practical itself says whether you are going to equip your students to be ready with skill based training programs. The next is they are also seeing if they you are going to uh, put into some field work or internship programs in your practical component. So your field work or internship, or you have small community work projects, whether they are going to be a part of this particular aspect of practical and industry focus. The next we are talking about is percentage of programs that we are seeing. Okay. Now, what is the percentage of programs that we are seeing? What? Yeah. I have not described the each of the questions here because I have put up only the main points, because I'm yet to get to know whether there are autonomous colleges and a university affiliated and or university or affiliated, but the detail of each of them will be shared later. I'm now just going to focus on what are the components that are a part of the metrics in each of them. Okay. So in the practical component, we also have the total number of courses. Now we all know that when we were talking about in criterion 1, we focused on the value added courses and self study courses. Here we are also seeing the total number of courses, but the only difference that we are going to have it, if your the course 1, that is value added course on, suppose let's say an example on gender equity, or gender sensitization is your value added course. If that is repeated every year, it will be only counted once, not in every year. So in first year, if I have 5 courses, and in the second year I am repeating the 5 courses and adding 2 more, it will not be called as 7, it will be called as 2. The third year, if you are adding 3 more, it is not be going to called as 5 plus 2, but it is going to be called as 3 only. If that's so, the new number of courses that are added each year will be taken, only that number will be taken, and not the entire all the courses. You are not going to double the whole course. Okay. So that's the difference that we need to understand, because now we were adding up, because that was also we were offering, but that will not be considered, though you are offering the same course to the new set of students, but you will still be writing that course. Once it is written, you will not repeat it again. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. That will not be repeated again. Then you have is, we speak about industry focus. We speak about is, just a minute. Yeah. We speak about is the percentage of programs with projects and internship. How many projects and internship that we are offering, and what is the different projects and internship that we offer in the program? What kind of internship? Is it a paid internship? Is it a non-paid internship? Is it a semester long internship? Is it just a small summer internship? Is it a winter internship? What kind of internship program are you going to offer should be mentioned in the curriculum. It should also have, if you are introducing any new program or course, or it should be as a part of the BOS. It should be shared. So in the non autonomous and non university colleges, that is the affiliated colleges, they will not have a BOS, but they will have the regular academic planning meeting, where it should be very clearly written that these are going to be a part of it. Unless until you write that, you will that later, then you say that no, I added this, it will not work like that. So you have to mention about this, that this was there and it was a part of the program, and we had discussed in the in the annual meeting, and this was a suggestion given, and hence we have implemented this. So that has to be clearly said. It cannot be a last minute addition you do, because that is not going to help in getting you the marks for the answer. Again, you need to understand that in affiliated colleges, the scope for minutes of the meeting, any number of time, the stakeholders that you met explained earlier, should be also considered as as a component for the minutes of the meeting. So you should have a document very clearly which states the minutes of the meeting. Also, it's better that you have a formal letter of invitation for 3 years to be given to the person who's going to be a part of your committee, so that there is no repetition, there is no issues, and the documentation with respect to that will should be very clearly done. The next we have is metric number 5, which speaks about skill orientation. Again, skill orientation does not become a component for affiliated colleges. It only is a component for university and autonomous colleges, and they get 5 marks for it. They get 10 marks each for it. Again, you are going to see if it is if the skill mapping of skill oriented courses are done, and whether these skill oriented courses are approved by the BOS Academic Council and the governing body. Um, like I mentioned before, since this is not a part of affiliated colleges, it is only because the curriculum for autonomous and universities are prepared by themselves. Hence, this component of skill should orientation should also be a part of it. In 1.6, we speak about the Indian knowledge system. In this, it is more to do with whether there are workshops and seminars conducted on Indian knowledge system. Now, if you all know, we already have got into the IKS, and each one of us are a part of the IKS, because somewhere or the other we are doing some components of IKS. So it is important that whenever you attend, if there are any orientation programs of NEP orientation programs, you can put that those NEP orientation programs. You can attend something on IKS. You can also invite speakers for IKS and make your teachers and students equipped with this knowledge of IKS. Because if you see, there is one full matrix which carries marks for that, and if you're not preparing it from today itself, then over the years, remember, this will be one of the years in your future assessment years. At that time you will be falling short because you will feel, oh, I have not involved this, or this is not a part of it. And hence you should try and see that you should try and see that it should be a part of it. And hence, little by little efforts on that should be started from now itself. So attend one session, attend an online session, conduct some, if you have experts in this field, call them, ask them to do session, because this is going to be a part of your metrics, of your attribute that will be assessed or that will be scored. So they are asking whether you do workshops and seminars on IKS, whether there is a certificate course on IKS, whether components of IKS become a part of the core curriculum, whether there is promotion of students for research in IKS, and whether there is a center of IKS. These are 5 aspects that they are looking into. You may have it, you may not have it. You may have everything, you may not have everything. But if you don't have everything, at least try to get 2 or 3 things in this, so that you are at least equipped with this and you are not going to be nil in this particular answer. The seventh is 1.7 is the online and blended learning. Again, we are here to understand that we are not running away from technology. We are in hand with technology, and hence online and blended learning should be a component of when you are talking about. Here, in online and blended learning, there are the university and autonomous has very less points, that is only 5 marks each, whereas the affiliated college has the maximum of 20 marks for this particular question or this particular metric. And hence we need to see how many courses are available, without repeating the count of the courses, whether these courses are approved by the stakeholders in the meeting, academic planning meeting, whether these courses are run, what is the benefit of the course structure, course certificate, all the courses, how you did for your value added. You will start keeping documentation for all of these. You should also have a proper database of the online component that you are focusing on. You may have it on your Google Drive. but I would suggest that most of you should put all your online courses on your YouTube. You can unlist it. You don't want everybody to see it, no problem. You can unlist the course, but put it on your YouTube channel. Give the access through the link to only to your students. If you want others to see, at that time you can make it for public, but if you till that time you can make it unlisted, and then you can continue to do that till, so the number of courses are also increased, and you also have the offline, the online component to it. See, when you put the value added course in your as one of the component of your in the timetable, your value added courses actually do not form a part of the timetable, because their timetable is structured for teaching those particular things. So you're supposed to give them afterwards or extra hours. So whenever you have your extended library hours, or you have some other time, give these courses to them. So to give it to them at that point of time, the best opportunity is giving it to them through giving it to them through online mode. So when you are offering them through online mode, they have the opportunity to do it at their own pace, and also to understand how well they will do it. Okay, so assessment is also an important component. Remember, online and blended learning, you should have proper topics clearly indicating which is online, which is blended, what component of blended you are taking. Proper evidences should be produced for both of them. See, many a times people say that I did it online, but you will have this problem of not getting accepted because you do not have the proper evidence to it. So start building up a proper evidence to it, and then that will help you in getting the marks for the online and blended learning. In metrics 1.8, we have the curriculum revision, which speaks about revising the curriculum. Again, here only universities and autonomous colleges stand apart to this. The affiliated colleges do not have a part in this, but when it comes to curriculum revision, you can also speak about not curriculum revision, but academic planning and preparation, where you can ask the stakeholders to give you suggestion as to how your curriculum should be transacted in a more suitable manner. Okay, from here we move to the next aspect, that is faculty resources. In faculty resources, you have three areas or three metrics that they focus on. um, Three areas that they focus on is faculty student ratio, faculty quality, and faculty development. So here we will look into faculty student ratio. Here, this question is suitable, is very apt for affiliated colleges, because the number of faculty and the number of students, the ratio has is a very very important deciding factor whether the staff is enough or appropriate for the number of students that it has to have. So if you are understaffed, if you are having staff which is on clock hour basis, if you have staff which is on visiting, you need to see that how you will be able to show this ratio effectively. Many a times you may have these kind of staff arrangements that you may be facing in your institution, but at that point of time, what is the role of the faculty? How much does the faculty contribute towards the benefit of the students? Is the faculty only going to be coming and teaching and going? And if it is that, what is the role and responsibility? How you are going to manage the student ratio is something that you need to look into. So the total number of full-time teachers year wise and the total number of students will decide the student and the faculty ratio, and that has to be apt enough. It should not be a very vague number which will draw attention and see that it is not working fine with the students, whereas you should try and see that you appoint faculty which is as per the norms, and hence give the students the maximum advantage of how the faculty can be used for the benefit of the students. Sorry, the next we have is the faculty quality. This is another aspect. If you look into teacher quality, which was there in in 2.5, which spoke about what is a level of teacher quality that we look at. Now here we need to understand that most of the times the teacher quality depends on factors such as, number of teachers who are at the various levels, that is, assistant professors or associate professors or professors, visiting faculty, ad hoc, contract. All these are things are looked into, and they are, cadre wise they are looked into, and hence we need to focus on the number of quality of teachers that we have, because they all should not be in one segment. You cannot have all of them as assistant professors. You need to have a good line of seniority when you are talking about the quality of teachers. Faculty quality also depends on the percentage of teachers with the doctoral degree. It also talks about, full-time teachers. You talk about teachers with qualification of net slet, or whatever is the minimum qualification that are required. And for this you need to keep the documentation ready of all the teachers with respect to their qualification and all the other aspects. Um Faculty quality also depends on the third aspect, which is average experience. The average experience of teachers. You cannot have all young teachers or newly recruited staff when you are talking about the experience of the teacher, and hence that is why I said you cannot have all as assistant professors. There should be a good number of degree of the level of seniority that will be seen when we are talking about the quality of teachers. The third aspect in this is the faculty development, which we speak about. Here we speak about how faculty can be developed. The first important aspect that we are talking about is training them with orientation courses, refresher courses, faculty development program. There has to be a number of faculty development programs, and at least you should have uh, minimum of two the faculty development programs that you will offer for your teachers, that will help in or bring in newness in all the teaching practices that they are doing. It should also, again, the same number of teachers. When you are adding the teachers for faculty, the number count should not be repeated. It should be very clear number of programs offered and the total number of teachers that you are offering, the number of programs. The next aspect that we are looking into is the infrastructure. Infrastructure has these areas that we are looking into. The first is the physical infrastructure. I'm not going to explain this too much, because we all know that the minimum physical requirements as laid down by each of the statutory body, whether it is NCT, whether it is AICTE, whether it is UGC, the minimum statutory requirement has to be followed, has to be, the norms have to be fulfilled when we are talking about infrastructure facilities to be provided to the students. It can be laid by the statutory bodies, or it can be laid by your university, affiliated university, which talks about the girls' common room, boys' common room, labs, library. It talks about recreational facilities. It talks about all that, which helps us to understand what are the minimum requirements that you need to have when you talk about the physical infrastructure. So they will have a list of equipments or list of infra that they have. But apart from that, you are also going to follow the norms when you are filling up each of the statutory body affiliation forms, like when we fill the NCT PAR or we fill the university details. We have mentioned about those. Please ensure that you are consistently following it. If there is something that you have missed out or you are not following or adhering, kindly put into practice. Find out ways and means that are required to fulfill the physical infrastructure. That is a very basic and most important aspect, because if you fulfill the infrastructure requirements, then the permission for your institution continues to go ahead. So remember to have that. The second aspect that we are looking up here is the learning resource. Now, learning resources are not only with respect to the books and other aspects, but it also is with respect to the e resources that we are speaking. Today we are more into e-resources and the digital library that we have, and how efficient or fulfilling is the e-resource or the digital space that you are using for the welfare of the students. I will give you an example. You may have the access to Enlist, but if your students and teachers are not consistently using the Enlist, the data record shows that you are inefficient in using it. Then the fact of having the Enlist does not make meaning to the use of it. If I ask you, do you have e-resource? Yes. What do you have? Endless. But if you ask how many people, what is the the entry of the student and the teachers, and you do not know that, or the numbers are very less, then e-resources will not be considered as effective. So you need to continuously augment it, keep increasing it day by day, year by year. Only then they will have a considerable number of books and resources. Suppose if you know that over the years we have lot of books, now is the time for e-resource, then start buying some e-resource, start buying something that will help the teachers, that will help the students, and it will help the institution to grow in resource wise when we are talking about. So a learning resource, you need to spend enough amount of money in providing adequate learning resource to the staff and the students. The third is the research resources. You are supposed to provide research resources such as e-journal, e-database to the teachers and the students. Then subscription to various online databases that they have. You need to have a plagiarism checker for whether that's available in your institution. A licensed software, that's another component. Do not say that you have the access through pirated softwares. That's not going to work. Do you have the license software? If you have, then you need to provide the license. You need to be also talking about a centralized system where this can function, and also see whether there are enough space in your library to give you these facilities, to give you this provision, whether there is online access in the institution as well as online access to these resources from your home front. The next part is the IT infrastructure. What is the IT facility with respect to the internet bandwidth and with the data, and what is the student computer ratio, which will help the students to have an understanding of the use of computers. You have the Divyangan friendly facilities, that is facilities for children with special needs or students with special needs, whether you have ramp and lift for the students, whether you have a washroom which is inclusive, or whether it is friendly for the Divyangan students, and whether you have proper signage for them, whether you have assistive technology for them, and reading of the website, a website reader or software for reading the website, or some kind of mechanized equipment do you have. These are all making your institution Divyangan friendly, that is friendly towards the special needs of the students. Innovation resources, do you have an innovation lab? Do you have a technology incubator lab, or any other labs which are basically looking out for innovation? And for that, you need to say that whether your institution is looking forward. Now, affiliated colleges do not become a part of this innovation lab, but definitely autonomous and universities become a part uh, of the innovation lab that they can look into. The next we have is the financial and resource management, where we speak about ratio capital income versus capital expenditure, ratio of capital income. What is the capital income you get and the capital expenditure? The revenue income that you get and the revenue expenditure, sustainability and financial control and risk management. Now, very clearly, you need to understand for affiliated colleges, there are 20 marks for this. Now, the amount of money you receive through capital, okay, that is through government grants or management contribution, loans, endowments, these are your capital gains or capital income that you have. And the expenditure that you're doing on infrastructural building, academic, hostel, laboratory, they are all your capital expenditure. Okay, you need to understand what are your capital income and your capital expenditure. So there should be a CA audited capital income and expenditure account which is submitted for necessary understanding. You also need to look into revenue expenditure and the revenue income, which speaks about how much is the income that is generated through fees and other sources, and what is the kind of expenditure that you have with respect to maintenance, lighting, stationery, equipments, or whatever. All those have to be very clearly focused when you're talking about the revenue income and the revenue expenditure. You also look into the aspects of uh, sustainability. In sustainability, you're looking into topics which focus on, one is, what did you do to create a corpus? Now, if you see, as in management, they create corpus fund to see that that excess fund can be used in bigger expenses for the later. Suppose if I want to create a new wing, now a new wing cannot just come up today. I will create some amount of money in the due course, which will be used for preparing me for a corpus fund. So this sustainability 4.3 is only applicable for university and for autonomous colleges. It is not applicable for affiliated colleges, because here we are not talking about sustainability with respect to environment. Here we are talking about sustainability with respect to financial resources only. So there is no environment related matter here. So do not get confused here. Sustainability means, if an organization has to sustain, how is it going to sustain over the years? If I have to buy 500 computers next year, I cannot go and buy next year immediately. I need to create a budget for that, a corpus for that, and that budget or corpus of money is understood in the financial sustainability. So whether you are creating a corpus, how much and for what. So when you are preparing your strategic plan, in that you have to mention about this corpus money that you are going to accumulate to do the late work on, and to do the work on buying computers or additional building or lift facility, whatever it is. So there, which involves lot of money, you will keep that account in your corpus so that money is used in the right manner. And also you are going to diversify your investments. That is, you're not just going to hoard or keep one aside, but you are going to have that process. The next component that we are looking out here is financial control and risk management. Here, whether there is continuously internal audit that is done, we are going to check on that. Then, whether there is an external audit done, and whether there is any risk management approaches that are taken care of. What are the risk management strategies that you are following? That will also be written. Again, it is applicable for all the three: university, autonomous, as well as for affiliated colleges. Okay, so that's it for today. Each of the questions with applies for the university, for affiliated, and for autonomous colleges, I will be putting it up in the format. And what are the expectations of questions, or what are the expectations that I just mentioned, will be also shared. I will share the entire thing with Nasir. He can take it forward with you all and see how each one of you can focus on the aspects that you really need to look into.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. So I did mention about that. You can have workshops, you can have seminars, you can have resource person who speak about IKS. There is a, if you look into NEPA orientation and sensitization program, they have a whole subject of IKS which talks about the various aspects of IKS. Uh, if you can just Google on MMUK, you will find a lot of UGC MMTT. It's a whole paper it's a whole course by itself. You can do sessions on that, which will really help the teachers and the others.
I have a question. May I please ask?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So this is Dr. Shaista from Prayagraj. Ma'am, we have this concept of collegiate development
Yeah. Please go ahead.
some points when we talk about faculty development
Hmm.
or the programs that are being floated under like this orientation and sensitization program. So would the
Yeah.
college get points for that?
With respect to
MMTT
faculty
center at the
development.
college. Yeah, MMTT center that we have. Yes.
See, now at this point of time, if you look into the college getting points, you will have to put your most of our, if you know, the binary accreditation basically focuses on quantitative as a biggest component. There is hardly any component of qualitative aspect. Okay, now here where the questions are related either to the institution or to the faculty. Now, if the question is directly related to the institution, has the institution conducted XYZ, then you can mention in collaboration with, like we were doing in 3.4.3 and 4, where we had linkages with others. We can mention about that because it's a collaborative effort, because you are getting a letter from the UGC, whichever central university that you are associating, you get a letter that they are collaborating with you. So if that is what the numbers are counted, the points will depend upon the numbers that are counted as one of the aspects. If it is a collaborative and a linkage aspect, you will definitely write this, which will add up to the number of events that has taken. If you see, finally it's an aggregate of percentage that is taken of all the numbers put together into the points, which goes as a score for each of your metrics. It is not, if I have done one event, it does not take as 1 point. All the events put together to that matrix, how much points carry to that matrix, divided by the number of years. Now in this, as per their binary, it is 3 years of accreditation that they are going to look, not for 5 years, divided by 3. And how many components which are involved in that will be all taken into measure when you are going to. So as many number of times you do these events, it will be. So if you're asking me whether the affiliated college gets a point, yes, it gets a point only if it is with in the component of collaboration and linkages. By itself, it is not doing anything because you're just collaborating. But if it is in the question of collaboration and linkages, it will definitely get a point there.
Okay, thank you so much for
Yeah.
clarifying that, ma'am. I do have one more query.
Yes. Yes.
So, because this NAC had been in the process of constantly changing many things,
Hmm.
so one of its aspect was this value-added courses. In
Yeah.
between, some experts told that we need to label it as add-on course instead of calling it as value-added course. And while exploring your parameters today, just now, you talked about value-added courses. So, what exactly should be the terminology?
See, add-on
And
course was a component which was available in the Naac criterion, sorry, Naac format in 1819 and 1718 and 1819. If you look at the AQR, that AQAR, which was filled in 1718, 1819, and prior to that, add-on courses was one of the aspect that was written. But if you see later on, in any of the AQARs or the SSR, there is no mention of add-on courses. There is only mention of value-added courses. So what is it? What is that we mean by a value-added courses? A value-add course is you are teaching your B.Ed program. Suppose if you're teaching the B.Ed program. In the B.Ed program, you are finding that your students are coming from vernacular background. When at your entry level, you saw that students are coming from vernacular background, or you find students who are doing their education after a prolonged number of years. It means after maybe after 5 years or 10 years. Now you find that it is they find it difficult to communicate in the class. Also, you know that your B.Ed program, the basically the focus is communication because they need to teach. So for that, you are now enhancing their teaching learning through better communication skills, and hence you are keeping a value added courses on communication. So what is it doing? It is adding value to your course or to your program which is currently there, functional, but you are just adding value to it. Okay, you are not teaching a new course, you are not teaching a new program which you are going to assess as a university assessment or an college assessment. No, this is just to enhance something else. So we are calling it as value added courses. The add on concept which was there, it was only there in the AQARs till the 2000. Later on it came to be as value added. So that's how the 30-hour program, the 30-hour minimum time that has to be maintained was all was very clearly clarified and done. And again, value added is not something that all the students may want to do it. You may offer it to everybody, some all may not do it. So there is also an option of taking it as an option and not doing it is also possible for a value added course.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was truly very helpful. And I mean, if we conduct it, on the online mode, like these days, there is lots of encouragement put on blended learning. So if it is a 30-hour program, so some of the lectures might be conducted offline, some might be online. So would that be considered, like, will that be accepted?
Yeah. So they are just talking about, one is in your value added courses, give them a proper structure of your course. Okay. In the proper structure of the course, give which component which is going to be going as offline and which component goes as of online. Give a very clear demarcation of time with respect to offline and online. Specifically give it very very specific. If you are doing it, so for that you need to have a proper timetable which says online, which says offline, which topic is online, which topic is offline. Suppose if you say that this topic is online, okay, they may also ask you to produce the content online. So that is why I said, when we always say that, okay, I'm taking an online lecture, I'm doing this. Many of them say that I did it on Google Meet or I did it on Zoom. But I will just suggest here that if you can do the same thing as a recorded lecture and you know post that in the group for the students with an extended number of hours, like if you're doing one session of 1 hour, take a 30 minutes, 40 minutes of 2 or 3 sessions, record them. After recording them, send it to your students. Let them have a let them hear through that, put some questions, and then take a follow up lecture online through Google Meet or through Zoom, and then revise this entire structure. Put that also as one of the number of hours in the learning process. Then that adds up to your proper 30 hours without any doubt or clarification. When I say I did a Google Meet of 1 hour, I do not have an evidence to that, or I may just have a minimum recording to that, then that was not very sufficient. Whereas you will have this as I did this, and then I did this, and then I did that online meet. That will have more value to your value added course. They want everything with evidence. 30 hours is not easy for anybody to carry on multiple value added courses. But if you see, if you strategically manage your time, you can very nicely do at least one value added course per month. I used to do two value added courses per month, 15 days for each. You can at least do one value added course per month. Divide the time in such a way. That is why I focus on giving recorded lectures and then coming back and doing it in the online or the face to face mode, which will help them to understand it better.
That's absolutely inspiring, ma'am. You truly inspired a lot that you could conduct those courses in a month. Now, just one small query, ma'am. I have too many questions, but I feel so hesitant to ask
No
too many
problem. Then
questions here.
I'm here for that. If you don't ask me, then I'll feel I did. I just spoke to black boxes. I'm so glad that you're asking.
Okay, ma'am. So, like you talked about value-added courses, and they should be adding value to the main course, so the main program that we are running. So, we are the affiliated colleges. Now, how do we categorize these certificate courses, and what should be the number of hours, and how far they are valued in the evaluation process of affiliated colleges?
So you should now focus on, if you look at NAC is focusing on value added courses. So keep value added courses as another component. Okay, totally another component which is suitable for your students. And in the value added courses, you do not charge anything, you just give it free for your students. The certificate courses is a separate new concept that you are going to introduce. And if you are going to introduce that, then keep the certificate courses a prolonged period of 6 months to 8 months. Okay, ideally it can also run through a year. And for this you can keep again a blended mode where you can have Saturday Sunday as contact hour programs, and then you can have the others as online sessions. But now communication skill, do not keep it as a certificate course. Instead you can keep in communication skill you can add, if you give it a broader version of personality development or soft skills and put 10, 15, 20, 25 aspects in that, then give that as a certificate course rather than giving certificate course in communication skill. Give a certificate course in soft skill where communication becomes a part of that, um, part of it. You understood? So when you are offering it in your school for your students, you are offering it as small nuggets of courses. But when you are offering, so they become value added, small value they are adding. But when you are offering it for outsiders and for your students also, but a paid version, call it as a certificate course, which will be a longer duration course. Do not focus on the hours here more, because focus here on the period, that is 8 months, 6 to 8 months plus, or 12 months. Do that, then that will be more effective. Maybe advanced psychology, you take up some financial management, or you take up on leadership and leadership management, big courses, human resource management. Take some things, those things as your certificate course. Whereas in value added courses, take communication skill, take maybe you talk about gender sensitivity, you talk about environment sustainability, smaller topics which will help in their something or the other. So think whether you want to improve uh, in their program outcome or in their course outcomes. Program outcomes may, it will be teaching learning you want to improve, or technology you want to improve, or you want to improve language. That course outcome related value added courses is whether you want to improve their psychological understanding, so mind wellness and mental well-being. Whether you want to make them again course related will be gender sensitization. Then one small thing on guidance, for guidance and counseling. So small things of their courses, that is of their subjects, when a small component that will help them in easy understanding, you can put them as value added. But bigger things which is more heavier as a concept, put them as a certificate course and charge them. uh, Charge it to your students also, and to outsiders also, and to alumni also. You will be able to generate some revenue out of it.
Yeah, that's truly inspiring, ma'am. So, like, is there some ideal number of courses that should be run in an affiliated college?
So you should run around 8 to 10 value added courses. Ideal, I don't tell, if I tell you ideal, there's no ideal, but I think feasible and can be achieved is around 8 to 10.
Okay,
Ideal can
so
be even one. Some of them say I don't have time, so they do only one or two. But feasible, what is feasible is at around
okay.
8 to 10.
So both value added and certificate courses,
No,
of
just
course.
do, no. Do value added around 8 to 10. Certificate, just do one in a year. Just one course
Perfect.
in a year. That's it.
Okay. And
Because if
we
you do
had that
too many,
absolutely.
people will not pay money.
That's very true. And the kind of background we have, like
Hmm.
students usually don't want to pay money.
Yes, yes. So they will not
Absolutely.
pay money. So you get good people to do your course. Just do one so that next year people are waiting when you will announce it and they will take it.
So that was totally an eye-opening thing, ma'am. We used to believe otherwise. So many myths are busted right now by you.
Yeah,
And I'll certainly have your number from Dr. Nasir so that we can at least invite you physically or online in order
yeah.
to roll out this entire thing. Thank you so
Sure.
much. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. Yeah. Nasser, I'll be there on the 26th. Day after tomorrow is 25th. 26th. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.